Welcome to Kcse Predictor Questions in Mathematics 2020-2021. I'm going to give the predictions in paper 1 of Kcse 2020-2021. I want to start by explaining that the advice I usually give my learner is that in mathematics, when you are given a paper, you start with section B. And first of all, when you are given a paper, just go through the paper, read those questions in section B, choose the best 5 for you, and then start doing them for 1 hour. After 1 hour, in case you haven't finished the questions, stop where the 1 hour ends so that you go back to section A. In section A, do not concentrate so much on the questions that you are not understanding. Do the questions that you are familiar with and you are able to do as fast as you can. Then as you finish, you go back to finish the questions that you left in section B, so that after you are done, you come now back to struggle with the questions that you did not understand well in section A as time ends. So from there, if you do that, you are able to score the best in section B and scoop good marks in section A. Now, in this paper predictor, I want to start with section A. Question number 1, without using a calculator or mathematical table, evaluate 36 minus 8 times minus 4 minus 15 divided by minus 3 all over 3 times negative 3 plus negative 8 into bracket 6 minus negative 2. Close the bracket. So in this question, this is a kind of question where we use what we call body mass. This is a kind of question where we use what we call body mass. We use body mass. Now, what you do, I've said we use here in such questions, we use body mass. Body mass. Body mass, and you understand body mass stands for? Body mass stands for bracket of division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So, in our numerator, when you look at the numerator, we work with the numerator. We start with now the multiplication of division. So we start the division. It's negative 15 divided by negative 3. This gives you negative 15 divided by negative 3. It gives you positive 5. So we shall have, and then a multiplication, that is negative 8 times negative 4 gives you positive 36. So we shall have 36, we shall have 36, then plus, because this gives you positive 32. So plus 32 plus 32 plus 32 plus 5. This one it gives you positive 5 all over. In the numerator, we have the bracket, so you deal with the bracket first. So this 6 minus 2, it gives you positive 8. So we shall have 8. So we shall have 3 times negative 3. This gives you negative 9. Because the multiplication will be the next. So we shall have negative 9 plus, we shall have negative 8. We have negative 8 times positive of 8 times positive of 8 times 8. So this gives you, if you add the 36 plus 32 plus 5 gives you 73. It gives you 73 all over negative 9 plus, this gives you negative 64. Negative 9 plus negative 64, it is negative 73. Negative 73. So 73 divided by negative 73, it gives you negative 1. It gives you -1. So that is how you do such a question. Use body mass. It's very simple to score 3 marks. It's a very simple to score 3 marks. It is as simple as that. You get your 3 marks as simple as that. Then question number 2. Question number 2. Question number 2, we are talking about. No, you're given such a question that the attendance. If you are given such a question that the attendance at a party consisted. The attendance at the party consisted of 35 men, a number of women, and some children. The number of women was 1.5 times that of children present. First of all, you interpret this statement that the number of women were 1.5 that of children present. So if we say children were, if we write children to be children, if we write children to be x. If we write children to be x, if we write the number of children to be x, meaning that women were 1.5 is the same as 3/2. Women were 3/2 times that of children, which is times x. Those were the number of women. And then if there were a total of 65 participants, calculate the number of children. So all of them were 65, and we know men are 35. Men are 35. Men were 35. Men were 35. Men were 35. So that means if we add all of this gives you 65. It implies that x plus 3/2x 3/2x then plus 35 this must give you 65. So if we put like terms together, this and this, 3/2 plus 1, 3/2 plus 1 gives you 5/2. So this 5/2x, 5/2x plus 35 this equals to 65. This equals to 65. So what you do, if I take this to the right hand side, I take this to this other side, so I will remain with 5/2x, 5/2x to be equal to 65 minus 35. 65 minus 35. So 5/2x equals to 30. 5/2x equals to 30. 5/2x equals to 30. So to get x, we times the reciprocal of this. So the reciprocal of this is 2/5. So x equals to 30 times equals to 30 times, that is the reciprocal of this, times, or 30 divided by 5/2, which is times the reciprocal of that, times 2/5. Remember, 5 comes here 6 times. 5 ones, 5 here 6. So 6 times 2 is 12. So the number of children were 12. Number of children were 12. Children were 12. Number of children were 12. So that is how you want to do that question. That's how you want to do that question. Let us do another question. Number 3, we simplify. Number 3, we are supposed to simplify the expression given. Number 3, we simplify the expression given. Now number 3, we ask it to simplify. Simplify 2y squared minus 3xy minus 2x squared over 4y squared minus x squared. Remember, this one is a difference of 2 squared. This is a difference of 2 squared. Remember difference of 2 squared when we said that a squared in form 2 minus b squared equals, that's the numerator, denominator I mean, equals to a plus b brackets a minus b brackets a minus b. So this same concept you can use when you see here this has a square root and this one has a square root and there is a minus. That's the difference of 2 squares. So you can use that concept of difference of 2 squares to solve this one. And the numerator you can factorize. If I factorize, I can find the product here. That is the numerator. For the numerator, we have product is 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, and the sum is you pick this one as the sum, which is negative. You pick b as the sum, the value of b as the sum as negative 3. So negative 3 is there. You think of the factors, 2 factors that if I had 2 numbers that if I add them I get negative 3, and if I multiply I get negative 4. If I think of negative 4 and 1, because negative 4 plus 1 gives you negative 3, negative 4 times this gives you negative 4. So those are the factors. So I'll go there and now substitute these factors in the xy. In the xy, I substitute with this. So I rewrite this as what? I write it as I will rewrite the equation as 2y squared minus, now instead of this we replace with these factors, that's minus 4xy, then plus xy, because this is positive, plus xy, then minus, what is that? 2x squared minus 2x squared minus 2x squared all over. This one I said we can write it in this form, difference of 2 squares. So the square root of this is 4y, I mean is 2y. So we shall have 2y. This square root is x, so it is plus x if I use that concept, brackets, the same 2y minus x, 2y minus x. You cross your brackets. Now you deal with the numerator again. The numerator, if I deal with the numerator here, you factor them out. The 2, you take them, the first 2 and the second, the next 2. So the first 2, a common factor here is 2 and y. 2 is common. 2 can come to 4. Y and y is also common. So 2y is common. So we have 2y into brackets. 2y can come here and 2 cancels. Y comes here y times. So we shall have y minus 2 comes to 4 2 times. Y cancels, so we remain with x. Then plus you think of a common factor is here is just x, there is no another. So common factor there is x into x cancels, you remain with y, minus x will come here, x remains 2x, so minus 2x. In simple terms, you realize that what is in the bracket must be similar. All over this one will still write the same way it is. That is 2y plus x you cross the bracket, 2y minus x, 2y minus x, you cross the bracket. So that now these 2y plus the outside ones, we put them together, so we shall have this will be equal to 2y plus x if we do the outside one, 2y plus x, 2y plus x, 2y plus 2y plus x, you cross the bracket, into y minus 2x into y, you pick 1. Now y minus 2x, there are 2, you pick 1, y minus 2x, you cross that bracket, then all over 2y plus x, 2y plus x, you cross the bracket, into 2y minus x into 2y minus x, you cross the bracket. Then you see these and these are common. If they are common, they can cancel out. And if they cancel out, so we remain with, which is equal to, we remain with y minus 2x, y minus 2x all over 2y minus x all over 2 all over 2y all over 2y all over 2y all over 2y minus x all over 2y minus x all over 2y minus x all over 2y minus x. So this is the simplified form of the equation. So that is how we simplify such a question. When you find something of this kind, that means you factor out first. That is by finding the product and the sum, then you factor out, factorization. And when you look at this, if this has a square root and this has a square root and there is a minus, you think of difference of two squares, then you are able now to finish. You are able to finish. So that is how you do it. Then let us go to our question number 4. We do our question number 4. Now our question number 4 talks about we need to look at question number 4, what it is talking about. Question number 4. In our question number 4, you realize that this is the question. The average lap for three athletes in a long distance race is 36 seconds. This is what this person goes in one lap is 36 seconds. He takes that 6 seconds in one lap. The second one takes 40 seconds, and the last one takes 48 seconds respectively. If they all start the race at the same time and a point, find the number of times the fastest runner will have overlapped the slowest runner at the time they all cross the starting point at the same time again. Now you realize that this is the fastest, second fastest, and this is the slowest. Now we need to find the time they will take to cross at the same time, the same point again. For them to cross the starting point at the same time, we need to find the time they will take to cross again at the same time. So what we do, we find the LCM of the three, and for us to find the LCM, we use this division method. I know you know this. Right now the number here is 36. The first one is 36. The second number is 40. And the other number is 48. Now what I do, you know how to find the LCM. We start with 2. 2 can come here 18 times, 20 times, and 24 times. 2 can also come here 9 times. 2 is 10 times, and the 2 here is 12 times. 2 can also come here 2 can't come to 9, so we retain the 9. 2 can come here 5, 2 can come here 6, and then because 2 can come here, so we also talk about 2. We don't stop until the end. 2 cannot come to 9, so we retain the 9. 2 cannot come to 5, we retain it. And 2 comes to 6 3 times. Now we continue. Now 2 cannot go in a number here, so we think of 3. 3 can go to 3, of course, and 9. So 3 comes here 3 times. 3 comes here, we doesn't, so we retain the 5. 3 comes here 1 times. 3 can also go to 3. So 3 comes to 3 1. 3 cannot go here, we retain, and then cannot also go here. But 5, now we finish with 5. 5 1 1 1. Then we are done. For the LCM, you must finish until you have 1 1. But if we were talking about the GCD were to look for a number that divides all of them. So we were to stop at this point. The moment you reached here, you were to stop here. So the GCD could be 4. GCD could be 4, 2 times 2. Now the LCM will be equal to 1 2 3 4. 2 power 4, 2 4 times 2 power 4 times 3 twice times 3 squared, then times 5. You do that. Remember, we're talking about seconds. You do all that, you find the time they took for them to meet again. That's to start to cross the meeting point, the start point again together, is 720 seconds. You will find them to be 720 seconds. So if you find them to be 720 seconds, that is seconds, 720 seconds. So that is the time they'll take to meet the cane. Now, the fastest runner shall have taken how many laps? Fast runner, we talk about the fast runner, the fastest runner. Fastest runner. The fast runner we shall have taken how many laps? It is now 720. 720 divided by 36 that he takes for one lap, divided by 36. You find that he shall have gone 20 times. Around the field, he shall have gone 20 times. 20 times. He shall have moved 20 times. He shall have moved 20 times. 20 times. And the slowest shall have moved slower, or slowest, not slower, slowest. The slowest shall have moved. Slowest will take how many laps? Slowest will take 720 all over. The slowest is the one who takes 48 seconds. All over 48. All over 48. This gives you, if you divide by 48, you'll get it to be 15 times. It shall have moved 15 times. And the question is, find the number of times the fastest runner will have overlapped. So he shall have overlapped 20 minus this 5 times. He shall overlap this 5 times. So we subtract the 2, subtract to get 5 times. That is the number of times you will overlap. Number of times you will overlap. So that is how you want to do it. You want to do it that way. You want to do it this way. So you find the LCM, then you find the fastest and the slowest, you subtract the 2 to get the number of times. You will overlap, the fastest will overlap the slowest. You find the number of times the fastest will overlap the slowest. So that is what you do. Question number, we shall move to question number 5. We move to question number 5 and see what you are supposed to do. We can move to question number 5 and see what you are supposed to do. In question number 5, now we are asked to form a quadratic equation whose roots are these: are x equals to -5 over 3 and x equals to 1 in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, where a, b and c are integers. So what you do, remember these are quadratic equations, and the quadratic equations, remember we usually say that a plus b, that is x equals to, or in simple terms, a plus b, we usually say that a plus b into brackets a, for instance, no, it is x, not a. We usually say that x plus b x plus b into x plus a or whatever into brackets x even minus a, let's talk of a minus a equals to 0. So from here we separate and say that x plus b equals to 0 or x minus a equals to 0. So that means if we use the same concept, you can now go backwards. So we want to go backwards because we shall say x plus b into x minus a equals to 0, whereby we separate and say that x plus b, x plus b equals to 0, or x minus a equals to 0. So we separate them. Then we can go back again, we combine. So that means if we combine, we say x plus b into x minus a equals to 0. So that is the same concept I want us to use to solve this. So if we use that same concept, we are able now to do this question. So in this question, we'll now bring this back. We bring this back here so that we remain with a 0 on the right hand side. It will be x. If we bring this back, that is the left hand side, because it's a minus, it will be plus 5 all over 3 equals to 0, or we did this, we bring this back. If we bring that back, it will be or x minus 1 equals to 0. So that now we combine this and this, we equalize to 0 to make it one equation. So it will be x plus 5 all over 3, we close that bracket, x minus 1, close the bracket, equals to 0. Because we separate, we'll say this equals to 0 or this equals to 0. Now after having that, you expand. So if I expand, I use this into all that. We use the first one into the second one. So I start with x into the order of the second is x minus 1. You close that bracket. Then here is an addition. So plus 5 over 3. That is for the first one. 5 all over 3 into the second one. Into brackets. X minus 1, I cross the bracket, or this equals to 0, or that equals to 0. Now what I do, I now expand this. I open the brackets. If I open the brackets, then I will have x times x gives you x squared. I will have x squared. X times negative 1, it would be minus x. Then plus 5 over 3 times x gives you 5 over 3x. Five over 3x. 5 over 3 times negative 1 gives you minus 5 over 3. So it is minus 5 over 3. All this equals to 0. Now I put the right terms together. I have minus x plus 5 over 3. X is the same as 5 over 3 minus x, 5 over 3 minus x, 5 over 3x minus x, which is 5 over 3 minus 1. When we talk about 5 over 3 minus 1, it gives you 2 over 3x. So we shall have x squared plus, because that becomes positive, plus 2 over 3 3x, negative x plus 5 over 3 is 2 over 3, then minus 5 over 3, then minus 5 over 3 equals to 0, minus 5 over 3 equals to 0. Remember, the question was giving you the format, the form they want you to give the answer. So if you fail to give the answer in the form they have given you, you will not score. You will not score the answer mark. Now what you do here, if I multiply by 3 all through, I shall have got the format I'm given. So I will equalize this to 3. If I multiply by 3, it gives 3x squared. 3x squared. Remember, I've multiplied by 3 and 3 cancels. It remains with plus 2x. Then you multiply by 3 is minus 5. You multiply by 3, it gives you 0. And this is exactly the format I'm asked to write my answer. This is exactly the format I'm asked to write my answer. This is the format I'm asked to write my answer. ax squared plus bx, ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, minus plus c equals to 0. So this is the format I'm asked. So if I get it in the format I'm asked to do, then I'm done with the question. I move to the next question of this is under what we call indices. You need to understand the topic indices for you to solve that question number 6. Indices, you need to understand the topic indices for you to solve that question number 6. Question number 6 is on indices. Now, what you do, in such a scenario, you need to understand indices, how to write in index form. Now, the question is, if 2 into power of x plus y equals to 16 and 4 into power of 2x minus y equals to a quarter. Now what you do, you write this in index form, both sides, and this both sides in index form. So this one in index form is 2 the way it is, 2 into power of x, 2 into power of x, 2 into power of x, x plus y, equals to, I rewrite this into base of 2, so 16 can be base of 2 to power of 4. 2 power of 4 is 16, 2 power of 4 is 16. And also this other side, we can say and, this other side we write this in base of 2, this we can write in base of 2, or first of all, and I can first of all write the 4 into 2, 4 into power of 2, 4 into power of 2x, 2x minus y. I can write this in 4 base, 4 power of negative 1, because we know 1 over a is a power of negative 1. So if I use the same, this base of 2 can be what? Can be 2 squared, 2 into 2 brackets, we have 2x minus y. 2x minus y, 2x minus y, or is equals to 2 squared. 2 squared times negative 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, power of negative 2. So from here, that means I can have two equations. These bases are the same, meaning the powers are equal, meaning that x plus y, x plus y equals to 4, and also and we open this, gives you 4x minus 2y equals to the power, which is negative 2. So I have two equations in this case. I need to solve the two equations simultaneously. So I'll have x plus y, x plus y, x plus y, x plus y equals to 4. I can rewrite the other equation, that is 4x minus 2y equals to negative 2. Now I need that to multiply that. If I multiply this, if I multiply the upper equation with 4, so that I eliminate x, I multiply with 4, and on the lower I also multiply with the coefficient of the first one, which is 1. So if I multiply all this, it will give me what? This will give me 4 times x, it gives me 4x. That is, the coefficient here was 1, I multiplied the whole of the second equation, and the coefficient of x was 4, I multiplied the whole of the first equation, which gives you 4 times this 4x plus 4y plus 4 times y, it is 4y plus 4y, then 4 times 4, 16, which is equal to 16. Then the second one is 1 times all this, it remains the way it is, because 1 times a is whatever is that number. So 1 times 10 is 10, all that. So all this remains, so it will remain as 4x minus 2y equals to minus 2. Now if I subtract, I will get, I'll get this will become 0. 4y minus 2. Remember, this 4 minus 2, minus becomes positive, so it becomes 6y positive. And this 16 minus 16 minus, this was 2 and not 3. This was 2. That was 2. This was 2. That was 2. So minus is equal to 16 minus becomes 18. So meaning that if I talk about 6y equals to 18, I divide by 6, y equals to 18 over 6, which is equal to 3. Over 6, which is equal to 3. So I substitute in the first equation. If I substitute in the first equation y as 3, then it means that x plus 3 now gives you 4. So meaning that x equals to 4 minus 3, which is equal to 1. So meaning that I was asked to find the values of x and y, meaning that x equals to 1 and y equals to 3. Equals to 3, y equals to 3. Y equals to 3. So that is how you want to do that question. That is how you want to do that question. Now we go and do question number 7. Given that cos of A is equals to 5 over 2 over 15 and angle A is acute, find the tan of this. So what you do in such a question, you draw a right angled triangle, so that you use now SOHCAHTOA, and then for cosine we say it is K, that is adjacent of hypotenuse. So we have the adjacent to A and the hypotenuse to A. Adjacent to A is 5 and hypotenuse to A is 15. So from there we use Pythagoras. We use Pythagoras theorem to find the other side, that's the opposite of A, to find the opposite of A that we don't have. Then after doing that, we are now able, after doing that, we'll be able to solve the rest of the question. Now, you are told that I've said what you do, you draw a right angled triangle. This is your A. K is adjacent to A is 5, because if this is your 90 here. And the hypotenuse K, adjacent of hypotenuse, the hypotenuse is 15. Then meaning the opposite to A, you find, remember 90 minus A will be here, because this is 90. To get this A is 90 minus A. 90 minus A is here. 90 minus A. That's the angle. That's the angle 90 minus A. So if this 15 and this 5, to get this we subtract 15 squared minus 5 squared squared. 15 squared minus 5 squared squared. So 15 squared minus 5 squared square root, you will find it as 14.14. 14.14. Pythagoras theorem, we say to get this one is this squared minus this squared is square root. So if you find, you get 14.14, meaning that we find the tan of this. TOA, when we talk about tan, is TOA, meaning tan theta equals 2. So tan of A, we have been asked about this. Tan of A, the opposite to this is this, and the adjacent to this is this. So tan of 90 tan of 90 minus a, 90 minus a, tan of 90 minus a will be equal to, opposite to 90 minus a is 5, 5 all over, adjacent to 90 minus a is 14.14, 14.14. So this is what you ask it. That's what they want you to find. That's what they want you to find. So the point here, we must show this one as what? If I call this one as a, so my a, I was supposed to show this a as what? As the square root of, I was supposed to show it as the square root, of 15 squared minus 5 squared, which gives you 14.14. So you are supposed to show this one because this will carry a mark. The two marks will be this one and this one. So that is how you solve such a question. So the first step was to make this, then the second step was to calculate this side. You get it, then from there you show the tan is that. So that is how you were supposed to solve it. Then we go to our question number 8. Our question number 8. We go to our question number 8. Question number 8. We do our question number 8. Now, question number 8. We move to question number 8. That we use mathematical table to find. Remember, this is a very tricky question. If you are asked to use a mathematical table, do not use a calculator. Do not use a calculator. Because if you use a calculator, then you confuse yourself. If you are asked that use a mathematical table to find the square of this, you need to read the square of this from the table. So the square of this, you look at 6.8, you look at 9. 6.8, when you look at 9, you will find it to be 47. 6.8, you look at the 9, you will find it to be 47.47. Now, after finding that, you go further the other side, you look at 7, and then you read there, you'll find 10. So if you find it there and you add the 2, but 10 must be at the decimal part. You add while 10 is at the decimal part, so it becomes 47.57. 47.57. Do not use a calculator, because for a calculator you don't show this, but for this one you are reading, so you must show the 10. I must see the 10 so that I know you used a mathematical table. If you haven't used a mathematical table, I will easily know. So you use a mathematical table to find the reciprocal. For the reciprocal, this is the same as saying 1 all over 28.74. That is a number that is more than 9. You write it in standard form. So the standard form will be equal to, is the same as 1 all over 2.874 times 10 raised to power, you moved 1 to the left is positive 1, raised to power positive of 1. So that's the standard form. Now this is the same as, remember, for the 10 raised to power, the reciprocal of this is positive, is now negative. It's 10 negative 1, which is the same as 1 over 10. So that means I have to rewrite that 1 over 10, that is the reciprocal of 10 positive 1 is 1 over 10, or 10 power negative 1. So whatever I will get as the reciprocal of this, I read this from the table, the reciprocal of 2.874. So I look at the 2.8 and at 7, 2.8 at 7, I'll find 2.8 at 7, 2.8 at 7, I'll find what we call 0.3484. I'll find 0.3484. So if you find that using the table, then you look at 4 at the end. You look at the column of 4, then you read. Remember, you are at 2.8. 2.8 in that line at the end, at the column of 4 at the top. You read, you'll find it to be 5. If you find the 5 here, remember at the top is written subtraction. This was addition for squares, and this is the only one with subtraction. So it is subtracting. So you subtract the 2, you subtract this one, you get at 0. Remember, this is 0.0005. So do not subtract using a calculator direct at 0.3484 minus 5. If you do that, you get a wrong answer. But if you do 0.3484 minus 0.0005, then you get the same answer as 0.3479. 0.3479. So when you get this one, you multiply this with 1 over 10. If I multiply with 1 over 10, this one with 1 over 10, so this is the same as 1 over 10. I multiply with 0.3479, 0.3479. So this gives you, which is equal to, that is, you are only looking for 1 mark. It's only that you follow a good procedure to get 0.034, 0.034, 0.3479. So that is the reciprocal. Then you are told, hence calculate to 4 significant figures the value of this squared, that is the square. Remember, this squared is the same as the square of this minus this. So that means you bring this one, you minus this one direct. This is equal to, for hence, when you are asking the term hence, so that means use the values that you have got. So we shall use 47.57, 47.57, I minus 0.03479. If I subtract the 2, you will get the answer as you subtract the 2, you will get the answer as 47.53, 47. If you subtract it for 10.53, 521. But the answer was 4 significant figures. This is significant, so you count 1, 2, 3, 4. This changes this to be 4, so it becomes 47.54. 47.5 is 47.54 to 4 significant figures. 47.54. So that is how you are supposed to do such a question. That is how you are supposed to do such a question. It looks simple, but the moment you use a calculator instead of showing by using a mathematical table, instead of using a mathematical table and then you show this, if you use a calculator, somebody will easily notice that you have used a calculator and then you miss that mark. Because you've been told to use a table and not a calculator. There is no need of using a calculator if you have been told to use a mathematical table. If you have been told to use a mathematical table, let us just use the table like we have been told. Unless there was no condition, but in this case there is a condition of a mathematical table and not another thing but a mathematical table. So question number 9. We move to question number 9. The graph below shows frequency densities for the masses of some 200 for the masses of frequency densities for the masses of the graph below shows frequencies for frequency density for masses of 200 students selected from a class. Use it to answer the question that follows. 200 students. So meaning the frequency sum of frequency is 200. Sum of frequency is 200. That is what it means. Then use it to answer the question that follows. Now we use this graph. We use the graph that we have to answer the questions that follow. Now we complete the frequency distribution table. Remember, this is frequency density and this is 0.5. There is a 0.5 here. Now what to do? We use we know that to get frequency density equals to frequency all over class width. Class width, I usually use I to mean class width. This is class width. All over class width. Class width. Class width. Class width. So, and then meaning to get the frequency, it is class width times frequency density. Class width times frequency density. To get the class width here, this is the upper limit and this is the lower limit. Because here you started with for the first class you start with the lower limit and then everything is the upper limits of the other classes. So the lower limit of the first class and this is the upper limit of the first class, you subtract to get the class width here. If you subtract this minus this, you find it as 10. These are the i's. So 10, if you subtract this and this, you get 5. If you subtract this and this, you get 65.5 minus 55.5, you get 10. You subtract this and this, you get 5. This and this you subtract, you get 10. So those are the class width. Remember, we usually use frequency density as the y-axis for a histogram if the class widths are not constant, if the class widths are not uniform. That is, like now they are not uniform. That's why frequency density was used. So for us to get the frequencies, we multiply frequency density times these class widths. But first of all, we need to know the classes. What were the classes? This was the lower limit. The lower limit, remember, the error here was 0.5. So that means the least unit was 1. The least unit was 1 to give 1 divided by 2 to get absolute error 0.5 that was subtracted for the lower limit and added in the upper limit. So to get what the classes were, remember this 0.5 was subtracted from a certain number to get 40.5. So 41 minus 0.5, that is when you got 40.5. So this was 41. The class was 41, 2. The up of this was added. So it was 50. It was added to get 50.5 to 50. Now this becomes the lower limit of the next class. This was the lower limit, so it was subtracted. It was 51. 51, 2. This is the upper, 55.5, meaning the upper was 55, so that it was added 0.5 to 55. Then now this becomes the row of the next class, so it was subtracted, so meaning then the class was 56. It was 56. The starting of the next class was 56. 2. Remember this is 65.5, it is the upper, so it was 65. Now this becomes the lower. It was subtracted to be this one, so that means it was 66. This was added to get 70.5, so it was 70. Then this one becomes now the lower. The lower it was subtracted, so that means it was 71. This was added to get 80.5, so that means it was 80. Now frequency densities. Frequency density, to get the frequency, now it is class width times frequency density. So frequency density is 2 times 10 gives you 20. Next, class width here is 14. This is the highest. The highest is 14. Then times 14 times 5 gives you 70. Gives you 70. And this one is 5. This one is 5 times 5 times 10 gives you 50. And this one is this is 10. This one is 10 times 5 gives you 50. This one, the last one, this is what? This is 1. 1 times 10 gives you 10. If you add the frequencies, they are supposed to give you 200, because we're told there were 200 students. So this is this and this is 100, 100. This is 90 plus this is also 100. So this is 200. This is correct. So this is how the table. This is the table. This is how you are supposed to get the table. Then from here you can be asking the model class. Model class is the class with the highest frequency. Class with the highest frequency, the most repeated class, is 51 to 55. And then the model frequency. Remember, model class is that. Model frequency is 70. Model frequency is 70. So that is how you are supposed to answer such a questions. The question looks simple, but it needs you to remember this formula: frequency density equals to frequency over class width, for you to be able to solve it. And for you to be able to do it correctly, you must remember all these things. You must remember all these things that I've done for you to be able to do it correctly. Now I move. Remember, the mode of frequency I've stated is 70. The mode of frequency I've said is 70. The model stated mode of frequency I've said it is 70. It was 70. Mode of frequency is 70. So that is the mode of frequency 70. So I move to the question number 10. Question number 10, that is under an enlargement. Under an enlargement with scale factor of -3, the point P is mapped onto P1 that is a P prime, this. Find the center of the enlargement, hence the image of point this under the same enlargement. So we let the center on. We let center O to be xy. We let center O to be x, y. That's the coordinate of center O. If I let the center O to be xy, then you need to know that from the center you need to know that from the center to the image, equals to the center equals to the scale factor equals to scale factor, that is scale factor equals to scale factor times center to object. And in this case we use the factors. Remember, we use factors. So that you need to know this formula, that center to the image vector equals to scale factor times center to object vector. So, and we know how to find those factors when you are dealing with coordinates, the position factors. So that is the idea you are supposed to use here for you to find the center and then use the center to find the other. So what we do, we use again the same formula to find the other one. So what we do here, we have let the center to be xy. So meaning this minus this gives you, remember we say this minus this gives you that factor, this minus this, and this we know is 718. So you can write 718 minus 718 in factor form. If you minus xy, so it will be still minus x minus y equals to the scale factor. Scale factor is -3 into brackets. This is the object, and the object is 3, 6 minus the center, which is xy, minus x minus y. So that means this one will be equal to whatever you get the upper. So it implies that 7 minus x, 7 minus x will be equal to -3 times that gives you -9. -9 minus, now it will become plus, because this is negative times negative plus 3x. We put the right terms together. If I bring the 9 here and the x this other side, 9 will be added. 7 plus 9 will gives you 16. So 16 will be equal to, if I take this, the other side will be added to be 4x. So if I divide by 4, so that means x equals to 16 divided by 4. X equals to 16 divided by 4, which is equal to 4. I use the same for the lower. It will be 18 minus y 18 minus y equals 2. This times this gives you negative 18 minus 18 minus 18, then plus this, and this gives you plus 3y. Plus 3y. So from there, I put like terms together, I bring 18 here, it will be added. It will be 18 plus 18 gives you 36. So 36 will be equal to, I bring this other side will be added to be 4y. I divide by 4, so that means y equals to 36. Equals to 36 divided by 4, which gives you 9. So meaning that the center center would be equal to xy, which is 4, 9. Now I use the same procedure now, hence the image of this. So I use the same formula so that I'm able now to find under the same enlargement. So I use the same formula so that I'm able to find the image, if this is the object. The image now, I highlight the image. If I highlight the image, let me use a different. If I highlight Q image to be, let me use M and N. If I use M and N to be Q image, so that means if I use the same formula that O to Q image, so that means Q image is this. So this one minus the center, and the center I know is 4, 9. So this one minus the center, that is M and N, minus the center, which is 4, 9, minus 4 minus 9. All these will be equal to the same factor, which is negative 3, because we have been told is under the same enlargement, minus 3 into, now to get this factor, it is Q, which is 1, 1. Our Q is 1, 1 minus the center, which is 4, 9. 4 minus 9. So that means, so this means that m minus 4 equals to m minus 4. Remember, this is negative 3. 1 minus 4 is negative 3. Negative 3 it becomes positive 9. So m minus 4 equals to 9. So I take this other side, so that means m equals to 13. Because I take this will be added. I take this other side. So that m equals to 13. Then I use the lower, it will be n minus 9. N minus 9 equals to, this is 1 minus 9 is negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 3 is 24 positive. Equals to 24 positive. So I take negative 9 this other side, so that n now becomes 24 plus 9, which is equal to 33. So if that is your n, so that means Q image, remember I was looking for Q image. Q image is 13, because it's mn, is 13, 33. That is the coordinate of the image. That is the coordinate of the image Q. So that is how you are supposed to do such a question. If you are asked such a question, that is the procedure. Now, after doing that, we go to question number 11. Question number 11. We go to question number 11. We do question number 11. We do question number 11. Question number 11. We find all the integral values that is satisfies the following inequalities. That is question number 11. That we find all the inequalities, integral values that satisfies an inequality. Integral values that satisfies a given inequality. So, like now we have this inequality that we need to find all the integral values. Find all the integral values that satisfies. Find all the integral values that satisfies. Find all the integral values of x which satisfy the inequality this. Now what you do, we divide this. This, you do these two, and then you also do these two. The first two, this and this. The first part, you do it, let me do it using this 5x. It implies that we do 5 minus 3x is less or equal to x minus 7. X minus 7. Now what I usually advise is that the first one, this, you ensure it is a number that is on the left hand side. So I ensure that the number is on the left side and the x becomes on the right hand side. So the number now will be 5. I bring 7 this other side, it will be 5. 5 plus 7. 5 plus 7. 5 plus 7 is less or equal to. Now I bring this to the other side, equal to x plus 3x. Now this becomes 4x and this becomes 12, because this is 12, so it becomes 12 is less or equal to 4x. Now I divide by 4. I divide by 4 so that to get x, I divide by 4. I divide by 4. Remember, these 4 will cancel. I remain with x. I mean, not x, but 4. 4, that one gives you 12 divided by 4 is 3. 3 is less or equal to x. Let it remain that way. Then the other part, remember you solve them in two parts. The other part I can use now this and this one. So I'll say, now I'll ensure now the other part, this other part, the x is on the right side. The x, and I mean the x will be on the left side, opposite, on the left side, so that the number becomes on the right side. So it is x minus 7 is just less than 11 minus 2x. Now what we do, I've said the x now comes this side and the number goes the other side. So it will be x, you bring this, will be plus 2x Now it is just less 11. I bring 7 this other side, it becomes plus 7. So 3x it is less than 18. So divide by 3. This 3 and this 3 cancels, we remain with x is less than 6. Now when it is this way, you just combine this and this the way they are. You combine them the way they are, and therefore 3 dots means therefore we shall have 3 is less or equal to the way it is x. Because this is x and this x is here just with less 6. So the integral values 3 is less or equal to. So the integral values are integrals. The integral are what? The integrals will be now 3 is inclusive because 3 is less or equal to. So 3 is there. That is x equals to. Those are the integrals. 3 is there. 4 is there. 5 is there. Because 3 is inclusive. Then remember x is less than 6. It's not equal to 6. So it is either 3, 4 or 5. Those are the integral values. 3, 4, 5. Answer the questions like you're asking. These are the integral values that satisfies the equation 3, 4, 5. That satisfies the inequality. So that is how we solve. Such. Now let us do question number 12. Question number 12 that question number 12, it's all about properties of a circle. In the figure below, ABCD is a cyclic quadrilateral. Angle DAC, angle ACB, and angle CBE are 35. So you start with angle DAC. DAC is 35. Then angle ACB, angle ACB is 60. Degrees. Good. And then you are also told that angle CBE, this angle, the outside angle, is 95. So this tells you that you can easily find angle C. We are asked to find. We are asked to find which angle. Determine the size of angle DAB. DAB yote. this whole angle here. So what you do in this case, you first of all need to find this angle here. So if I find this angle here, I can easily find this angle here. So I add the two. I add this and this. Remember, to get this angle on a straight line add up to 180. So angle CBA angle CBA equals to 180 minus 95, and that gives you 85. That gives you 85, which is equal to 85 in brackets. You must give the reason. In brackets, angles on a straight line, angles on a straight line. You see there are angles on a straight line. Angles on a straight line. Then after giving that reason, you have this 85. So that means you can get this angle as 85 plus 60 minus subtracted from 180 to get this angle. Angle B or CAB, angle CAB, if I get angle CAB equals to 180 equals to 180 minus 60 plus 85, 60 plus 85 so this gives you 180 minus, this is 145, 180 minus 145, that gives you 35 degrees, 35 degrees. Then you give reason and say these are angles, sum angle of a triangle. We call them sum angle of a triangle. The reason you give is sum angles of a triangle. Those are some angles of a triangle. So after knowing that this is 35 also, so that means you can easily get this DAB to be equal to 35 plus 35, which is equal to 70 degrees, equals to 70 degrees. And that is what you are asked to do. Now we move to the next question. Question number 13. We move to the next question, that is question number 13. The next question, that is question number 13, and do it as asked. Now question number 13, we are asked to question number 13, determine the equation of the curve whose gradient, at end point is given by this. So if we know the gradient, meaning that dy out over dx, it means that dy over dx equals to, we have dy over dx as 2x, dy all over dx, we have it as 2x plus minus 1. So if you are asked the equation, remember we are going the reverse, so we integrate, so meaning that to get y, which is the equation, we integrate 2x, minus 1 with respect to x, that is dx. If we integrate that one, so that means y equals to, if we integrate this one, becomes 2x squared over 2x. Remember the powers, we add 1 and then we divide by what we get. That is how we integrate. So it becomes 2, the power here is 1, 1 plus 1 becomes 2, 2x squared. The power you get, the new power, you divide by there, then we minus. This one means x had a power of 0. So x power of 0, now it is added. If we add, now becomes 0 plus 1, it is x power 1 over 1, which remains x. So it is minus x. Then we add a constant c plus constant c plus a constant c. So that is how we integrate. So that is the y. Then we need, given x as given x what? Given, we are given that a point t, meaning x is 1 and y is 5. Given x to be equal to 1, y equaling to 5, we can find c. Y equaling to 5, we can now find c. So meaning that I substitute here, I can say, remember this becomes y equals to x squared. If 2 and 2 cancel, 2 and 2 cancel, so it means that x squared minus x plus c. So I substitute with y with 5, so that means 5 equals 2. 5 equals 2. X is 1, so it is 1 squared minus 1 plus c. So 1 squared minus 1 minus 1 is 0, so c equals to 5. So meaning the equation becomes y equals to x squared minus x squared minus x, then plus 5. And this is what we are asked. That we find equation of the curve. So that is the equation of the curve. So in this case, you are supposed to integrate. So that is how we find the equation of the curve. As long as you're given the point, you are able to find the arbitrary constant c, then rewrite the equation with the arbitrary constant c substituted. So that is how we find equation of that curve. Now we move to number 14. Question number 14 is saying that a straight line whose equation is 4y plus 3x, a straight line whose equation is 4y plus 3x equals to 12 is perpendicular to line QR and occurs the x and y axis at P. So meaning x axis is cut at P, and the y-axis is cut at Q. Determine the equation QR and acute angle alpha to 1 decimal place, which line QR makes with the x-axis. Line QR makes with x-axis. So first of all, we need to find the equation of QR. And for us to find the equation of QR, remember this equation is the one that cuts at point Q and R, cuts point QR at x-axis and y-axis. So we need to find the gradient of this equation, because the gradient of this equation and the gradient of QR, we used perpendicular property to find the gradient of QR. So we find the gradient of the equation this, the equation that. So what we do, we find that is 4y, we write in the form y equals to mx plus c, 4y plus 3y plus 3x equals to 12. We rearrange this in the form y equals to mx plus c, so it becomes that 4y equals to mx with x to the other right hand side, it becomes minus 3x plus 12 plus 12. So when we add 12, we divide by 4 or through, so that means y equals to minus 3 over 4 minus 3 over 4, then plus 12 over 4 is 3, plus 3, 12 over 4 is 3, so it is plus 3. So if we add 3, this is the equation, that there is an x here. So from here, the gradient is what? So m1 equals to negative 3 out of 4. And we know m1 times m2 equals to negative 1. So that means if I want to find m2, I times the reciprocal of this. So m2 equals to negative 1 times the reciprocal of this equals to, so my m2 equals to negative 1 times the reciprocal, which is 4 over negative 3, 4 over negative 3. So this gives you 4 over 3. Negative and negative will cancel to get positive 4 all over 3. Positive 4 over 3 is my m2. So for QR, the gradient of QR is 4 over 3. Now remember, I need to find one point in either Q or R. So if I decide to find a point either Q or R, because I know at point Q, if I use Q, I say at Q we know that is perpendicular to, and this line cuts QR and cuts the x and the y axis at P and Q. So Q is at the y-axis. Q is at the y-axis. So at the y-axis we know x is 0. At Q, x is what? We know x is 0. X is 0. So if I substitute x being 0 here in this equation, I substitute x being 0 here. So that means 4y equals to 12, and 4y, implying that 4y is what? 4y equals to 12 from this equation. X is 0 because at Q is in the y-axis, and the y-axis x is 0. So at y-axis x is 0, so I substitute x with 0, it becomes 0. So it is 4y plus 0, which is 4y equals to 12. 4y equals to 12, so y equals to 3. And x is 0, so the coordinate is 0, that is Q. Q coordinate is 0, 0 and 3. So if I have 1 point, I'm now able to find the equation. If I have 1 point, I'm able to find the equation because the gradient is 4, 3. So it implies that 4 all over 3 equals 2. I take another point xy, so it is y minus 3 all over x minus 0. I cross multiply 3 into y minus 3, so it becomes 3y. 3y minus 9 equals to 4x. I can take 9 the other side to be 3y equals to 4x plus 9. 4x plus 9. So that is the equation of QR. Then I'm asked to find the angle alpha. We know that angle alpha is the tan inverse equals to tan, because we know that gradient equals to tan theta. Gradient equals to tan theta. So tan of alpha equals to gradient, which is 4 over 3. Tan alpha equals to, we say that tan, the angle it makes with the tan alpha equals to 4 all over 3, meaning that alpha equals to alpha, it means that alpha is tan inverse, tan inverse of 4 over 3. You press this in your calculator, you'll find alpha to be equal to tan inverse of 4 over 3 gives you 53.13. 53.13 degrees. That is the angle the line QR makes with the x-axis. The angle the line QR makes with the x-axis is the tan inverse of that gradient of this QR equation, of the gradient of the QR equation. Now, after you've understood this, we move to question number 15. Question number 15. It is about commercial arithmetics 1, that's the Form 1 topic, whereby you are asked to do the exchange of currencies. Exchange of currencies. That is, the question is a Kenyan tourist. It is a Kenyan tourist. A Kenyan tourist. Now, we are supposed to do this question. A Kenyan tourist left Germany. He left Germany to Switzerland. A Kenyan tourist left Germany for Kenya through Switzerland. While in Switzerland, he bought a watch worth 52 Deutsche Marks. Use the exchange rate below. That is 1 Swiss franc equals to 1.28 Deutsche Mark, and 1 Swiss franc equals to 45.21 Kenyan shillings. Find the value of the watch in Swiss franc and in Kenyan shillings. Now, we are told that this 1 equals to this. So I'm asked to find the value of this into Swiss. So what I do, if one whatever Swiss 1 Swiss, if 1 Swiss equals to 1.28, 1.228 Deutsche equals to 1.28 Deutsche. What about 52? So 52 will be equal to what? It will be equal to 52. It will be equal to 52 divided by 1.28 Swiss, which is equal to, this gives you, when you divide, it gives you 40.625 Swiss. It gives you 40.625 Swiss, 40.625 Swiss. $40.625 Swiss. So this is what we are asked to do. Then in Kenyan shillings, that money in terms of Kenyan shillings. Now in terms of Kenyan shillings, we know that 1 Swiss equals to 45.21 Kenyan shillings. 1 Swiss equals to 45 point. Now we argue from there. We say that 1 Swiss, the second one we are given, 1 Swiss equals to 45.21 Kenyan shillings. What about 40.62 Swiss? 40.625 Swiss will be what? It will be equal to, this times that, you multiply 40.6 40.625 times 45.21. So this gives you Kenyan shillings. This gives you Kenyan shillings 1,836. You multiply using your calculator, you get 1,836. Point 626. So that is the amount in Kenyan shillings. The amount in Kenyan shillings. So that is how we do the exchange. What matters is the kind of question. There is that buying and selling of currencies. You must understand that the bank usually the bank does what we call the buying and selling. So the bank does the buying and selling of currencies. It does the buying and selling of currencies. Then I need now to do the last question in section A. That is, I solve for x in the following regular polygon. These are a regular polygon. Now what you do in this question, first of all, because you are given the interior angles, what you do, you find the sum of interior angles. We know sum of interior angles. We know that the sum of interior angles equals to, 90 into brackets 2n minus 4. Or somebody can easily say it is 1/8n minus 360, or in simple terms, whichever you do. Now, what to do? How many sides do we have? N. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 sides. So the sum will be equal to 90 times 6 times 2 is 12. 12 times 12 minus 4 is 8. So it's times 8, which gives you 720 degrees. If that's the sum, so that means I add all of this and equalize to 720. If I add it, will be 120 plus 5x minus 6 plus 4x plus 4x plus 14 plus 7x plus 8x minus 8 plus 8x minus 8 then plus 6x all this will be equal to 720 degrees. When you put like terms together, first of all I deal with the x's. It is 5x plus 4x, which gives you 9x. 9x plus 7x gives you 16x. 16x plus 8x, and then minus plus 6x, it gives you the x's becomes 30x. It gives you 30x. So we get 30x. Then we shall have 120. Then I have this is 6. 120 degrees. This is 6, negative 6 plus 14. You get 8 positive. 8 positive minus 8, you get 0. So we shall remain with 120. So it is plus 120 equals to 720. So 30x equals to 720 minus 120. So 30x equals to 600. So if I divide by 30, also divide by 30 here, it means that x equals 2. You cancel this and this, and this comes here 20 times x equals to 20. It means x equals to 20 degrees. So that is how you want to find the value of x. And then you are done with section A. You are done with the section A, so that we do now section B. Section B, you are supposed to pick 5 questions. Pick the best questions as per your understanding. So the first thing I said is that you go through the questions in section B, and you are supposed to start with section B so that you are good to go. So the first thing, like I've said, is that you first of all read through the questions so that you pick the question to do. But for me, I'm going to do all of them for you. I'm going to do all of them for you.